It's an exciting day in the vlogverse because I'm starting to brick build some roads. Wow, look at that, eh? It's actually July 1st. I got back from the Lego store not too long ago, just organized some stuff here in the studio, edited, uploaded, filmed a different video for this channel, uploaded that, and now I'm starting to work on brick built roads for the island. It's funny, I've got all these July 1st sets, the Miles Morales mask, the Shelby Cobra, the Battle Droid. I should probably be building those, but I was like, hey, I need to work on some stuff for the city because we haven't been here for 5 days, so I may as well start working on the, the brick-built roads. And also, I want to go to the Brick Bin because the Brick Bin is having a deal on cups. I think it's $5 a cup for your standard parts. And before we left, I was looking at my 1x2 drawer, looking pretty sparse. And we got to Mills plate a whole island. I'm eventually gonna have to Mills plate a whole medieval area as well. I think 2x2 we have more of, yeah. 2x2 we still have all this over here. Let's work it on that, but I should go there and grab some 1x2s. Maybe we should go through this bin here and grab some 1x2s out of it, but even when you have a lot, it doesn't go far. Oh, there's slopes right here too. So these are all our slopes and arches. So I go through there, I could grab all like the 2x3s and 2x2s and weird random colors and use those around the perimeter of the mills, but still, like $5 cups, come on. We're trying to brick build some roads. I could go grab all the dark gray, not all of it, but I could grab like a bunch of dark gray brick from there, $5 cups. I should probably do that. But then I was also thinking to myself that I should go there with Mrs. Bricksie, because if I go there with Mrs. Bricksie, we could both be packing cups at the same time, right? So I may as well work on brick building some roads for today, and then we'll go home and build some of those sets, I think. And then we'll go to the brick bin maybe tomorrow. But you know how I got ceiling fans installed here? I know it's a basic procedure installing ceiling fans, but I've got the same electrician coming by my house to install ceiling fans in our bedroom and our kids' bedrooms tomorrow morning. We have AC, but still, sometimes the upper floor still gets really hot and you want to have the ceiling fan on, and I don't feel like cranking the AC to try and cool upstairs, because then the main floor where the thermostat is would be super cool, like super cold, and it just seems like a waste of energy. So yeah, they're coming by tomorrow to put some ceiling fans in the morning, and I'm not sure how much time we'll have after that to go to the brick bin, but I'm sure we'll be able to make time, so that's a good thing. Man, I am gonna be loving this vlogging channel. This is my jam. Okay, let's brick build some more roads. Perfect. I decided that I wanted to brick build roads for these islands here because I think brick built roads will look better and they're easier to like manipulate. We can create like angles and curves and do all sorts of cool things with brick built roads. Where these brick built roads at this point are going to go, I have no idea. But I figured I may as well come up with a concept for like an angled road somewhere along here, something that's sort of modular, maybe like a 4 base plate module that can be positioned somewhere amongst these two islands. So I think whether it's one-way traffic or two-way traffic, I want to try and build these roads so it's 16 studs wide. That's the same as this road plate right here. So 16 studs is the same as 13 bricks and 1 tile. So that's what I did there. There's no white line. If you wanted to add a white line, you could remove one of the bricks, and then you'd have 3 more plates that you got to work with. So it'd be 6, and then a plate, and then the white line surrounded by plates, and then another plate. But I don't think we're going to need white lines or yellow lines for that matter, because you're brick building it within the island. So I built this here, and I started angling it just randomly. I don't know how many studs that is there. I don't know, it doesn't matter. But I built this using 1x3 bricks and 1x6 bricks, topped it with the tile, and then it just starts angling right there. Now this is 4 base plates right here, So I actually started mills plating it as well. In the areas where I could use 16 by 16 plates, that's what I did. So you've got a 16 by 16 plate right there. And then everywhere else where I can't fit those, I've started laying in the brick for 4 by 4 plates. So I'm going to mills plate as close as I can toward the road. I've run into my first problem here. If I mills plate up to the road, well, now it's just like a straight line, and I have no way to adapt my wedge plates because I want these roads to be wedge plated just so they have that unique island feel. Even if I use tan or dark tan just to indicate that it's like dirt on the side of the road, that might look cool. But if I mills plate right up to it, then I have no studs to work with. Of course, you could start putting snot bricks or bricks with a forward-facing stud within the road, so you can adapt these, but I don't think that's going to work. I'd rather have studs on the side of the road that I can attach these wedge plates to like that. So I think what I have to do is actually undo my 4 by 4 plate mills plating along the sides. So undo all of this stuff here and shift this so that it's an odd number, like that being the entire road. So rather than having it within the 4 stud dimension, make it an odd dimension. So for example, if I bring this over, now I have 5 studs over here, so I'll still have an additional stud along there. And then if I mills plate, or over here I'll have 3 studs. So then if I use a 2 stud plate, well then I'll still have a stud over here for the wedge plate. And then we can get that interesting shape along the side of the road, and I don't really have to do anything funky other than just messing around with the math of the mills plate, if that makes sense. So that's probably what I'm going to try next. Yeah, that sort of worked out because now we have that stud all the way along there. And you can see this is just 8 studs of green, but then it's an odd number, so now we have studs to work with, which is good. On this side, it's the same thing. This is just 2 studs. So we have 3 studs, so now we have a stud to work with for the wedge plates on this side as well. Now I am probably going to have to modify some of the brickwork in here because you can see how those studs on the road, like right there, overlap a little bit, so I'm unable to get a brick up close to it. But if I changed it to a plate or reduce the width of the road in some areas, well then I could free up those studs. But what I'll probably do is just go through with my wedge plates next and try and wedge plate it as best I can along the surface of the road. I've started doing that over here. And then if I have to adjust the width in some areas to better accommodate the underlying bricks so that I can actually put those wedge plates or affix them to the edge of the road, then I can do that. But I think it's just sort of trial and error at this point. But it's the start of an angle, which I think is great. And of course we could upscale this. This is 4 base plates. We could double it. We could make it 8 base plates. That island is so accessible. We can walk around it. We don't have to pop up through access points or anything. So if I make 8 base plate modules, it's not the end of the world. And I think it is going to be easier to work with larger modules on that island there, just because we're going to have these interesting roads that are unique in shape, and the buildings sitting here are going to be sort of plotted down in angles as well. So I think it's important to build it in larger modules just so it's easier to connect in the end and also place. Whereas if I have a bunch of these at this size, it might be hard or more difficult to create that grid and to attach the grid together, if that makes sense. Now what I could have done and should have done is mixed up some of these bricks. I don't know why that one's such a weird color, but instead of using a 1x6 brick here, I could like plate build an imperfection in the road. For example, we could use these. And that would like provide a little bit of texture in it. We could also change up the color of it a little bit as well. There's all sorts of things that we could do. So like we could jam more pieces into this brick built road just to give it more texture. We could put textured bricks in there, like the profile ones, whatever it may be. But this was just like a trial. I wanted to try and make a small section of angled curving road that we could use for the island, and I think that works. Now, I framed it using the wedge plates, and I didn't make it perfectly consistent like that. You can see there's like a right angle right here because this is a 2x6 plate. I could make it perfectly consistent using the wedge plates, but I think it's actually more natural to have a little bit of these right angles in here. And of course we can put, you know, a little piece of vegetation there, or like a cheese slope or a curved slope like I've done there. So I think it makes more sense to have it a bit jagged in some areas. And could I make them wider, that being the roads, to accommodate two-way traffic? Absolutely. But it just depends on how much space I want to dedicate to dark bluish gray road. And could we change up the color? Like I mentioned earlier, for sure. We could put tan wedge plates in here. Could do tan all the way along, right? Make this whole border of the road tan or reddish brown. And of course, in the surrounding area, we can change up the color as well. Doesn't have to be green, we can change that up. Or when we plop a building down here, we can put in a trail of dark bluish gray or light bluish gray or different pops of color. But for now, I just wanted to try and come up with a 4 base plate road plate module so we can test it for that island, just to test the concept. And I think this looks pretty good. It's a pretty good start, that's for sure. I shifted some of the island base plates around. Of course, at this point, they're just random colors, but there is a reason why I'm starting to work on the road layout. That's because we have the Mills plate material inbound, like we're talking tomorrow. It's also why I want to go to the brick bin to get more underlying brick while it's on sale. But there you go, look at that. We've got this placed in the center. I know, it's looking a bit green. I can't stress it enough that it's not going to stay like this. But I placed it in the center because I still think there should be some sort of center road. Of course, if I put roads going this way and that way and creating a circle, then there's more space that's going to be allocated to road, and I want to try and get away from that. So for now, I just put it in the center with the angled portion heading toward the bridge. I'm sure we'll be able to connect the bridge, but there you go. I think that's a good start. Now, before I Mills plate this entire area, there's something that we need to factor in, and that is the actual potential road layout. What's it going to look like? So I think the next thing that I need to do is grab a bunch of dark gray brick and start constructing the 13 brick or 16 stud roads and start laying them in here and trying to figure out what this configuration is going to be, because once I get the roads laid in, then I can Mills plate it. If I just go ahead and Mills plate it all, of course I could do that, but then when I go about constructing the roads, I'm going to have to rip apart a big section of the Mills plate on each plate so that I can embed the road into the Mills plate. I think if we're going to have a road that's brick built, it should be built into the Mills plate. I think it looks better. We have that depth effect. I realize that sometimes roads are built on top of the grass, so there's like a ditch effect. And that does work, but I've done this in the countryside where it's built into the mills. And I think if you have that depth, it makes sense to use it rather than just building Mills plates and putting the road on top of the Mills plate. And I've done both here. So you can see this is embedded and this is just put on top. What looks better? I think from a Lego point of view, embedded looks better than having an elevated road, just because once again, we've got that depth. We may as well use it. But I think I need to just figure out where these roads are gonna go. Maybe not, you know, build them all 16 studs wide and put them everywhere, but at least get some sort of system constructed so that when I go about Mills plating, I know which plates to connect and where to not Mills plate to leave space for the road. So I guess that's the next thing I'm gonna take care of. Now, really quickly, it is funny. This is on the Bricksie Vlogs channel. What's going on with that? This is like an island update. Well, it's been brought to my attention that I have a vlog channel and the vlog content should go on the vlog channel. But this is where I'm at a crossroads with my two channels, because a lot of the content that I already film here in the studio working on the city, out and about shopping, is vlog content and always has been. So now it's like, well, where do I put it? Do I put it on Bricksie because it's about Lego and the Lego city, but it's filmed in a vlog format? Or do I put it on Bricksie Vlogs because it's filmed in a vlog format? But I think we are going to try something new with both channels This channel is going to be the day-to-day vlogger, the trial and error of building the roads, and the Bricksie channel is going to be presenting the end product in a polished format. I hope it works because I love filming vlogs. I want to continue to film vlogs, but I also think that I need to change the Bricksie channel, and I think this change, after giving it lots of thought, is probably the best because it accommodates the best of both worlds, if that makes sense. Coming off the causeway, I think we can just extend this with using road plates because I think there needs to be a little straight section right here. So I just used 2 more of those road plates. I also removed the plate built top that we had on top of the rock work there because at this height, that's the same height as tacking this road plate down because that height is going to come 1 plate off the base plate. And I always put 1 plate underneath the road plate. So that should line up perfectly. And then of course we've got our brick built curve here. So I connected this and it just curves toward the angled road there. And it sits on 4 base plates as well. And you'll see a bunch of colorful brick. That looks super random, but it's actually not. So where we have the sparse amount of brick, that's going to accommodate 16 by 16 plates when we get them. So that's perfect. And then we have the dense brick. That's going to accommodate the 4x4 plates so we can fill this area in nicely. I might have to transition this corner into 4x4s because the 16 by 16 is just going to come right over top of the road just a little bit, but that can always be adjusted later. I also left this place open here because I'm thinking there can be a T-junction here, and that can come this way to where we're going to have a brick-built parking lot because this island is going to need some sort of parking. Maybe I'll even build a parking garage of some sort. That might be cool, but that might take away from the island look, so I'm leaning toward a parking lot. But there's going to be all sorts of sort of activities over here. That's why I've loosely placed this Ferris wheel for now. I think this will be more of like the hip-hop happening area of the island. And then it'll get a little more sparse and more islandish as we transition this way here. So I want to connect this to over here where we're going to have a bridge which is going to connect both islands. So I brick built this large section here which is 80 studs long and it's the same width. So when I pop it there, it should line up. And it's going to come sort of like to the midsection there. Not perfectly straight, which is cool. I could maybe round it out a bit more and have it come to like the edge of this plate, or maybe even, no, just to the edge of that plate max. Because you can see, sorry, I got something in my throat here. But you can see where that's going to come across right about there when we build the bridge. So it's sort of like midway between these 2 plates. So I think that's going to work. At least we've got that section of road in there now. So I can cover it with the green plate next. But you can see the 3 different stages. So we've got the brick built road. It's really cool. You can make that whatever shape you want it. And then we have the brick built road with the underlying brick that's not topped with the green plate. And then we have the brick built road with the underlying brick topped with the green plate and also the wedge plates better shaping the road. So that's the 3 different stages of construction for the roads that we're going to do here in the island. We're on the island. We're on the islands, I should say. And over here, I'm not sure, this one actually might become a loop. This might be cool if it was a loop. One-way loop, maybe we reduce it from 16 studs to 12 studs, and then we can loop it all the way around, and it's a one-way road, and put an exit going out this way. I think that's going to give us the ability to create some really cool stuff, especially if I leave the proper amount of space to put buildings here, and then the road there. Then we can have buildings in the center, and of course, like island vegetation and all that different type of stuff. But yeah, really exciting times because the mills plate material should be here tomorrow, which I think is going to be awesome because we can get this fully mills plated and get the road inset, and then it's going to look a lot better. Also, just slowly accumulating parts to do the water detail. And we got to detail the coastline too. But just one day at a time, and I think that's what we're going to be doing here on the vlog channel. Taking it step by step, one day at a time, but I think that looks pretty good for now. Hope you enjoyed this little vlogaroo where we worked on the island roads. I think they got a really cool shape, and it's looking pretty fresh. All right, thanks for coming on by. Hope you enjoyed. Farewell.